it's a much slower rollout. But what we're seeing from those governors with Baker in New England and DeWine in the Midwest and Hogan in the Mid-Atlantic is a uniform response despite party response or despite party leaning. Iowa is a different case.
So let's just Iowa was not originally a hotspot. Massachusetts was a hotspot, so Charlie Baker kind of jumped on it relatively early, probably not early enough, but nobody was early enough. Iowa is weird because it has, I mean, typical Iowa, typical conservative place. Sure, it's got a little bit of that libertarian flair as well. And the governor there, Kim Reynolds has been, at least, so from a public relations perspective, Kim Reynolds, until quite recently, was doing a good job. She was giving daily briefings, which I guess is like the minimum standard that we're going by. I don't know if they were daily briefings, but she was giving, like, the governor's office was giving regular updates. And now Iowa had partnered with a conglomerate of Utah tech startups. And this is just a weird thing. So the companies that are from Utah are from a section of Utah, not called Silicon Valley, but called the Silicon Slopes. I don't know, but I think it's a pretty fitting name. Because it's like they're trying to be Silicon Valley, but they were not successful. And what I mean by that they were not successful is that these group of companies got together and basically told the Utah governor, who I cannot remember their name at this time. So they told the Utah government, hey, we'll start doing all your testing for you. And after like negotiations, also the group of companies that are doing the testing is being run by a guy who is publicly questioned having doctors on his team. I will find that name momentarily. But basically, this group of tech startups got together. They founded a company or an organization called Test Utah. Right? Cool. Test Utah was, in theory, such a big success in Utah. It actually turned out that it wasn't. That Kim Reynolds awarded this organization a bunch of no-bid contracts. Democracy in action. And so now they're doing Test Iowa. Awesome. We're going to test all of Iowa. The tests are like 30% reliable at best. At that point, you should just be importing from the Chinese. And she's had to apologize not only for a backlog of tests, which was supposed to be sort of where this organization was going to come together, because, like, sure, maybe the tests don't work, but you were going to get your test back, because that's been a huge complaint around the country, right? Backlog tests. Mm-hmm. But there's been test backlogs too. So it's been a really, really rough situation. And despite the fact that she's been in regular communication with the White House, specifically the White House Task Force and Jared Kushner, it's not been going terribly well in Iowa.
And it's also important to mention that Iowa, alongside their neighboring similar states of Nebraska, the Dakotas, and Wyoming, never issued a stay-at-home order.
Yeah.
Nor did they issue a stay-at-home directive, nor did they issue a stay-at-home guidance, whatever you want to call them. However binding they are. Kim Reynolds said, quote, "I cannot issue a stay-at-home order." Or I cannot lock down the state, is what she said. So that has really affected Iowa, because out of all those states, that's the one with the major population centers, maybe Nebraska also. But, to say I can't lock the state down has really, really hurt Iowa, because it's allowed the case to spread very fast. And they're one of the 7 states that has not done that.